Hi, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a crucial topic, the hidden cost of limited public awareness in alternative medicine. And I'm really thrilled to be joined by Dr. Ashley Mulch. She is the founder of West Holistic Medicine in Austin, Texas. Dr. Mulch is a leading voice in functional medicine, advocating for a truly holistic approach that goes way beyond addressing just isolated symptoms. With her understanding of patient acquisition through SEO and word of mouth, and her leadership in the Austin Wellness Collaborative, she really brings a unique perspective to how public perception really shapes the landscape of alternative medicine. So today we're going to explore the challenges that some practitioners are facing when public awareness is influenced by oftentimes unmonitored, influencer driven trends, and really discuss the core philosophies of functional medicine that aims to provide this really comprehensive patient centered care. We're also going to discuss the role of AI and how it can enhance a medical practice, both in treatment and streamline the business operations. So let's get ready to dive into this. Welcome, Dr. Maltz.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being with us this afternoon. So, first of all, tell everyone that's listening exactly what it is that your practice does there in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I am actually not the founder of West Holistic Medicine, but I am the owner, the current owner. And what we do is take a whole person root cause approach, practicing integrative and functional medicine, as well as we have a full time acupuncturist, we have a health coach who's an anti inflammatory health coach, we have a practitioner who does Ayurvedic medicine or medicine from India, and we do allergy testing and treatments there. So, kind of full spectrum, whole family, whole body care.
Amazing. When you say whole family, do you work with children there as well?
We do. I don't, but the other doc in my practice, Dr. Julia Freedy, she does. And she's a family medicine physician. I'm an internist.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then we do like children's acupuncture, here and there. So our acupuncturist sees them.
And tell me about your journey. How did you get to where you are now, and what led you to take this approach when practicing medicine?
Yeah, that's a long, convoluted, well, it was a long, convoluted journey. Have struggled with my own health issues, mainly anxiety, chronic fatigue, kind of low mood, or as we call it, dysthymia throughout my life. And even as a young person, I got turned on to the idea that taking care of my body can help with my mental health and my physical health and all of these things. So in college, I actually studied psychology as a pre-med and really wanted to find a way to learn more about the mind and the body connection. Little did I know, I really also just fell in love with the science, and I just got kind of addicted to studying and was very ambitious and had big goals. So I went through medical school and residency and did that whole allopathic journey. But in medical school, I did find a mentor who practiced what was called integrative medicine. And really had never heard of it. I mean, I had these concepts in my brain, but there was no unifying theory behind it. And most of my classmates were asleep or laughing at this professor. And I was like excited, ears up, eyes peeled, and went up to him after. And I ended up working with him. And over the years and kind of got put down an academic track in integrative medicine. I ended up doing a fellowship in integrative medicine after residency. And so, learned lots of all the ins and outs. It's a 1,000-hour course over 2 years. And I actually was practicing every day at a center in Stamford, Connecticut. And then took a job in integrative medicine. There, I was also exposed to functional medicine. And it's just been a continual learning journey. So for the last 20 something years I've been on this journey, and it continues to evolve, and I'm always learning, always going to conferences, always, yeah, evolving my practice.
It seems that a lot of different practitioners that I've spoken to that have come into the functional or integrative health space was because they were actually trying to heal themselves or someone else really very close to them.
Hmm.
And can you just kind of explain actually the difference between integrative health and functional health?
Yes, sure. So, the way I see it and the way I explain it is that integrative medicine is really a huge umbrella. Arms are outside the window. Functional medicine is one modality within this umbrella. So, integrative medicine could mean that you have a practice with a physical therapist in your medical practice or a nutritionist, and you're just kind of integrating two different modalities or three. Maybe you make some breath work suggestions, or you refer people to an acupuncturist. That maybe use a few herbs or supplements, right? That's
Mhm.
one way of practicing. And then there's all these other different ways within it. So functional medicine actually comes from naturopathic medicine, which came mostly from Bastyr University and on the West Coast. And it's a way to practice, get down deeper into uncovering layers of root cause illness. So it's just a process that we use to go deeper and within integrative medicine. So it's a little bit of a nuanced, complicated answer, but
Gotcha.
yeah. So integrative medicine, when I think of integrative medicine, I think bigger picture, traditional Chinese medicine integrated, like I learned medical acupuncture and hypnosis and Reiki in my fellowship,
Mhm.
but mindfulness meditation. But I really was still kind of not surface level, but just not going as deep into hidden viruses, hidden chronic illness triggers, things like that. So it's just a deeper, and we use different tools.
We had talked earlier, and you're based in Austin, Texas, and
Mhm.
Austin is kind of known for being so much more progressive and a little bit of a hotbed for alternative medicine and the biohacking industry there. Your perspective on those types of things happening in your little bubble, as you call it, are different than probably what most of the country is experiencing. And so one of the things that we were talking about was really this hidden cost of public awareness. So while your public awareness is probably fairly high in Austin, it's not in other parts of the country. And so what do you see as like the biggest challenge as far as bringing awareness to so many people that may not be informed, exposed to all the potential benefits of taking this approach?
I mean, I think it's definitely growing. Like
Mhm,
5, 10 years ago, we had never heard of cold plunging and Wim Hof method and biohacking. That term never even didn't exist. I mean,
mhm,
maybe it did, but in very small, tiny circles.
mhm.
Now it's kind of out in the world. I think people are finding it. The more they use AI, the more they're online, the next generation, they're coming into my office pretty educated. And I know I'm not alone because I'm in forums with a lot of doctors, and even the allopathic docs, they're complaining because they don't understand where these people are getting this information. And it can be a bit eye opening when someone's like, no, this is what I want. And I've
Uh-huh.
read about this. I've already done a lot of the research and I want to know. So I think it's definitely growing. How we get the message out more is just by practicing it and, sharing, doing podcasts, doing educational events. Um, kind of but word of mouth tends to be the fastest. I do think this new administration, well, it's not so new, but the political administration in the US has started promoting a little bit of the functional medicine practices and things that we do, but it's tiny, tiny. It's, yeah, removing red dye. Okay, so that's great. We don't need that in our food. Our kids don't need that. Nobody needs that, really. I think fluoride is now being removed from our drinking water. So there's newer concepts to middle America, or regular people that are coming down the pipeline, and they're gonna have public health, effects.
Mhm.
Um, for better or for worse. The jury's still out on everything. So
Right.
we'll see. But it's interesting, that I think that's eye opening to a lot of people. Um,
So that's one of the perks, I think, like you mentioned, utilizing AI, social media, podcasts. There's this ability to get a lot of information out there. And particularly in these more independent channels, the blessing and the curse is that they don't have to monitor as much what is said. But then the curse is also it's not necessarily monitored what is said. And so one of the things we talked about is that sort of this influencer type approach that can have some really negative consequences to it as well. And like, how have you seen that particularly?
First of all, it's everywhere. So when you can buy pharmaceutical grade drugs online without seeing a practitioner and someone is making money off of that, that's a problem. That's We don't know what's in there, right? A case was posted in a functional medicine forum that I'm in recently about a young adult, sorry, whose mom found vials in their room, vials of injectable medication from some influencer product line or brand. And this person has an active eating disorder. And so when we find that influencers are actually practicing medicine, to me, that is a problem. Needs to, first of all, that puts physicians and licensed practitioners in a really awkward position because, yeah, oh, well, I can just get it online. It's kind of like, oh, I can just go buy drugs next door. I mean, it's completely unregulated, wild, wild west, and can be dangerous. I mean, you don't know if you're getting their toxins in your supplements or from China or India. Like we know that they have high heavy metal loads. Even your spices could these things need some oversight. I'm not saying, it has to be through a licensed practitioner every single time, but like we as a physician or a PA or NP have to consent people to these medications, right? So we're always on the lookout for side effects and problematic behavior and just getting it off TikTok with no accountability, it's a problem, right? Like people can misuse it too, right? So like creating eating disorders and creating um I don't know, kidney failure, whatever it is, right? So there's a lot of middle ground that needs to be worked out, right? So that we can be safe and understand. And, I hate to say it, but influencers are not benign. They're not just out to heal the world. Are making a living. This is their job to
Yeah.
sell, right? And they're great at it. And the ones who are doing well, right? And no, that's great when it's a purse or a brand of makeup. Like, sure, do whatever you want. But like we're talking about things that people are ingesting or injecting and it's a thing. You need training. You need, I think, an accountability. It's just not there.
I'm sure there's conversation about that in your circle with other physicians. Do you think that there's potentially regulations coming? Any conversation about that?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
in the near future to kind of to put some better guardrails on this for this situation particularly?
Yes, I mean for GLP-1s for sure there's already, the FDA has been cracking down on compounded versions of it because it's unregulated and we don't know what we're getting in every vial.
Mhm.
And there have been cases of like even just well-known steroid injections that go into the spine that have been infected through time. I mean, so yes, I think that's coming and it's going to be coming even further. However, usually these things come from bad outcomes, like people die, and then the FDA starts working on things.
Mhm.
Whereas I'm more of a preventionist, like don't put yourself in that situation
Mhm.
type mindset to where you would have a bad outcome. I mean, you can't control everything, but like
Right.
do your best. Don't buy things from a shady person online. Like, you just don't. And so we'll see. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but that's usually what happens in these cases. There is a new law here in Texas named after, I think it's Jennifer's Law, where a woman went in, and this is really tragic because this kid is very unusual and highly unlikely. She went in for an IV infusion at a med spa and she died. I don't know what was in it. I think it was just a simple, I used to do these in my clinic. So there's legislation that has now been made around the practitioner whose name is signing off on the order has to be in the clinic. And there's specific, we have to go through all these consent forms and, medical malpractice prevention, that type of stuff. So states are creating laws and, but it's, unfortunately, it usually just comes after when,
Some
bad
sort of
outcomes.
tragedy.
Yeah.
Something bad has to happen, unfortunately, to garner the attention.
I'm also seeing that a lot of influencers, I read my Apple News, I just scan the headlines almost daily, and People magazine is on there. And I would never pick up a People magazine. Otherwise, I'm human. I get pulled in. Anyway,
Yeah.
a lot of these like medical tourism company, there's a lot of like, this person went to Mexico and had a Brazil, whatever, like
Lift.
lift, or in Ukraine or somewhere, Romania. I don't remember where it was, but I see these like on a regular basis. So it's, people just, you don't know what you're getting. That could happen here. I mean, surgery is surgery. It's a liability.
Other than, what we've just sort of discussed, what are some of the other biggest challenges that you face currently with your business?
Um, well, there's always the aspect that some people don't get better no matter what we do. And that's really frustrating. It's very few. It's like 1 or 2% of the entire practice. But this is ongoing over 15 years. And these aren't the same people, it's just different practices. And you always have that subset. New patient retention or new patient outreach, it's a constant treadmill that we're always on. And I mean, I think there's also these consent forms and regulation can be really challenging. So you know, we have to fill out all these new consent forms, and it's in Texas, it's a bit much. I'll just say that.
Uh-huh.
What else? I don't know. What else is our business facing? AI. AI is interesting. It's definitely pro and con, right? So more information.
Do you currently use that in your practice?
So I use it as a note taker, scribe in my
Mhm.
practice. And every now and then I'll have a case that I'm like, okay, this is really complicated. I need to just get another perspective, but that's like once or twice a year. I really am not that dependent on it. A lot of my friends use it for everything. I use it more for marketing, than anything. But it is a little scary when someone comes in and says, well, AI told me this, that, and the other, and it's accurate. I have yet to have that full experience yet. I mean, the AI, I think, is still in its early days and it sends people down rabbit holes that could, it's helpful, like high level, but it tells people to get it makes a diagnosis, first of all. And second of all, it tells people to get these obscure labs that only research labs have, and they cost an insane amount of money.
Mhm.
It's not that useful, right? So, yes, we can have anything we want, but also we can't have everything we want.
Right.
I guess we can have all the information we want, but in real life, not everything is all that applicable.
If you could use AI just to automate one component of your practice at this point in order to make it easier, more streamlined, is there a particular component that you could see it being most beneficial for you?
I mean, I know there are ways to do it. The intake could be shorter, you know, just it could have like a already formulated kind of working diagnosis kind of thing. But, again, it would lab review and those things exist. I just don't use
Mhm.
like cautious with new technology. And also I'm just stubborn. I like to see what's going on, but I guess more in a predictive way, like instead of me having to go and do a calculator like for cardiovascular risk assessment, it could just do it for me kind of thing. Breast cancer assessment, risk, all those things. And What am I missing? Because as a we also do primary care. So primary care has the burden and it's wonderful, but
Mhm.
I get to see all kinds of things, right? But we may not get to go as deep as like a specialist on one area. We also have the burden of making sure all the screenings are done, all the numbers are in the right, all the blood pressure is perfect. It's a lot. Just trust me there. And most primary care docs could use some help in keeping track with all that. So I know there are systems being built around that. It's just again, I'm just kind of a dinosaur in that realm.
I think that is where AI shines, particularly when talking about a patient doctor relationship, is where the AI can take the data, the numbers, and put that into a nice form that makes it easy and concise. And then that can allow for that most important personal interaction between the physician and the patient and streamline some of that on the back end so that the conversation can then really happen. And as you said, sometimes patients come to you with this information, which is probably good on one hand. Perhaps they're a little more informed, they are making steps in the right direction, but then it really takes that personal human component to help sift through some of that because AI is not perfect either and sometimes it makes mistakes, so it can be a nice jumping off point or just to automate tedious monotonous tasks.
The first time I saw, I was like, wow, this is crazy. A patient had brought in basically all of his labs from 10 years, and he had a chart of it all, and I was like, "How did you this must have taken forever," and he's like, "No, just put it into AI," and I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Because we spend I mean, in my residency, I was up all night reviewing records, going through labs, like, comparing labs from previous I mean, that's what you do. That's what
Mhm.
they went all night and ordering things and reviewing and making sure giving them the right medications, and yeah, life would have been a lot easier if
Well,
you
just
said
there to
I
have
would
it.
have actually slept for hours, versus not slept. So, it would have been
Maybe that's a nice thing for particularly residency, right? Isn't that
yeah.
typically the really grueling times? Maybe there's residents are getting a little bit of help
Oh my
on
god,
that aspect
I
for
hope
them
so.
and yeah, can focus on some of the other really more important tasks that take the human perspective,
Mhm.
make that diagnosis, but without having to spend all that time just assembling data.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you're actually most excited about? We talked a little bit about the challenges, but what are the things you're most excited about, particularly in your field and with your business over the next year and maybe even looking a little further like into the next 5 years?
Yeah, I've kind of reached this inner peace, this contentment where my work-life balance is kind of figured itself out finally, and so for me, I'm just excited to continue that, and hopefully that doesn't change, I don't know. I'm always excited to learn more and grow more. I'm helping plan a event in May in San Diego for functional physician and integrative physicians. We have a nonprofit that we started. And so there's all kinds of things. I'm also hosting a retreat for wellness practitioners here locally in Austin through the Austin Wellness Collaborative. That's in March. There's just little things that I'm looking forward to. I don't have like, I'm going to make $1 million by, that's not never been my goal, actually. Just continuing to grow and teach and help people achieve their optimal, whatever that is, mindset or health and continue getting stronger in my own body. I've been working with a physical therapist. So, doing my own self care, living it versus thinking about it or dreaming. I'm just like in it. I'm very present for the day in the moment.
It's so nice to get to that place when we do all the hard work. Sometimes there's absolutely nothing wrong with coasting in that, where you've worked so hard to build and to be in the place where we're enjoying it, soaking it all up. So kudos to you for work life balance because I think that is something that so many people are still striving for. And obviously that changes and adapts as we go through these different seasons. So good for you and good for you for just recognizing that. Sometimes we're missing it because we're looking so far ahead to what the next thing is. We're not enjoying where we are.
Well, that's where I lived for 40 plus years. And now
Mhm.
something just switched and I'm enjoying it.
That's amazing. I always like to ask my guest if you could have been born with a God given talent that you did not receive. I always know this for myself because I can't sing at all. So I always think, gosh, if I could have been just born with something, it'd be like Whitney Houston's level. Like if I'm going big, I'm going big. Is there something that, you kind of wished, like, gosh, I wish I had the ability to. Uh,
There's so many things that I've wanted to be able to do over my life. Hard to choose. I think just well, first of all, I used to want to be like discovered. I wanted to be on like famous, like
uh-huh.
not for singing, dancing, acting. Like, I really loved all of that. I still love all of that. So it could be one of like something that in that realm, just be super talented,
Mhm.
musically gifted, all of that. But I'm not horrible. I'm not horrible. So I do have I recognize that
Skills.
people might see me as talented and gifted. It, I'm not like, yeah, nowhere near. I mean, very few people are Whitney
Right,
Houston
right.
level. I don't, yeah, maybe that or just the ability to not have to sleep very much and truly enjoy like every moment.
Mhm.
Yeah, that I think that would be it because with so much energy, like everything else just who cares? Like it's just fun. I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to think about that more.
Well, thank you for your time today. Your patients are lucky to have you. Austin is lucky to have you and the things that you're building there with the Wellness Collaborative. Well, I'm gonna put all of the note links in our show notes, but tell everyone how they can find you. And also I did want to ask, obviously you work with people in Austin, but do you do telehealth or things if you have potential patients throughout the country?
Personally, can only see patients in Texas, so we are regulated and licensed. Dr. Afridi has licenses in multiple other states, including Illinois, Kansas, Nevada, and some others. There's like 10 of them. So, yes, she does telemed elsewhere and in Texas. And then, yeah, our health coach could see people anywhere. They're not licensed, but for all the licensed practitioners, we're regulated by where we have our licenses.
Okay. Amazing. So for the people there in Texas, what's the best way for them to find you?
So westholisticmedicine.com, and the holistic is spelled HOLISTIC,
Okay.
not with a W. That's that's kind of a British way of spelling it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then online, I mean, you can always Google me and that should come up. I also have my own personal website that I created in residency before I joined West Holistic. So that's ongoing, but it redirects you to West Holistic eventually. And yeah, we're downtown near the whole flagship Whole Foods and happy to see anyone.
Well, thank you so much. And any last little anything else that you'd like to kind of toss up there before we wrap it up?
No, I think just hibernate as much as you can. It's that season for that, and it's okay. It's okay to rest.
Yeah, it is. I mean, nature is built around the four seasons and winter happens for a reason. Good to remember that. It's a little challenging though, as we're kind of in the thick of it, especially up here in Michigan and just starting to get a little, although the sun is actually shining today and that makes a world of difference. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Ashley. I really appreciate you taking the time today and diving into some of these topics with us. And we would love to have you back again sometime after you've kind of done some of these things that you have on the horizon and see how it's all going. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. Have a good one. Stay warm.